Good evening, my beautiful butterflies and fly guys. Listen, I know you're ready to get into tonight's discussion, so I'm not going to delay this discussion about this year's return to the Met. That's right, we're going to discuss the Met Gala this year. So go ahead and grab your favorite beverage, and we will be right back after this. Are you ready, AB? All right, let's get it. Hit it! Yeah, in the building.
HeSpoke fashion. I'm telling HeSpoke fashion. I'm telling HeSpoke.
Listen, thank you for joining us. This is HeSpoke Fashion, and I'm the host, Daylon Thomas, and this is where we discuss women's fashion from a man's perspective. And of course, we endeavor to go everywhere fashion is. And on this week, I want to give my review of certain outfits during the Met Gala, as well as ask and answer the question, was diversity included? So let's get to it. This year's theme of American independence is paired with the first of the two-part Costume Institute exhibition in America, a Lexicon of Fashion, which uses the organizing principle of a patchwork quilt and serves as a metaphor for the United States and its varied cultural identities. So American independence was the official dress code listed on the invitation for the 2021 Met Gala. This gave attendees a wide berth of ideas to play with, from founding fathers and powdered wigs and star-spangled gowns to Lady Liberty cosplay, and of course, all things red, white, and blue. The Met Ball, or Met Gala, is the fashion world equivalent, watch this, of the Oscars. It's an evening when designers, models, and Hollywood stars convene in the year's most over-the-top looks to celebrate and to fundraise at a new exhibit from the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. So that is why we see most outfits that look more like a costume than your normal ready-to-wear.
Bruh.
So typically, everyone dresses to that theme. So for this year, the Costume Institute presented again a two-part 2021 exhibit called In America, a Lexicon of Fashion, and In America, an anthology of fashion. However, I'm sad to say that the execution of this year's theme, In America, a Lexicon of Fashion, reminded us all of what normal, quote unquote normal, is to the gatekeepers of American fashion. So let's get to this. These are not necessarily my favorites. However, in my opinion, these are the ones who stood within the theme the most. So let's look here. This is the representative AOC, and it looks what I would say it was reminiscent of the movie The Hunger Games, with AOC playing the role of Katniss. And some of my Hunger Game fans will understand that statement. She wore this dress, which was designed by Aurora James. Remember that name, Aurora James. And she attended the Met Gala alongside AOC on Monday night, and she was lauded by the New York Congresswoman for coming to the U.S. to launch her sustainable fashion brand, Brother Bellies, at a Brooklyn flea market. Wow. Now, all you budding designers out there, look, don't despise humble beginnings. She started at a Brooklyn flea market. So look at this. Not only did she start her dream brand, Brother Bellies, at a flea market in Brooklyn, but she went from the flea market to winning at the CFDA, which is simply the Council of Fashion Designers of America. Again, against all odds, may I add. And then she worked together with AOC to kick open the doors at the MET Gala. Wow. Again, don't despise your humble beginnings. Perhaps right now, you're selling your garments out of the back of your car, out of the trunk of your car. Do not despise your humble beginnings. But listen, in case you missed it, AOC was one of the only people on the carpet that night, specifically, to wear designs by a black woman. So hats off to AOC for doing that. Now, of course, as everything goes, this look from AOC did not come without any controversy. Here is a comment from one critic. It says, "One of the most disgusting things I've ever seen," tweeted activist at Hex the Kariaki, while constituents see she failed, are being evicted or wondering how they're going to eat tonight. At AOC out here living large at the hashtag MET Gala, wearing a dress that says hashtag task the ricks, but will do nothing to make it a reality. Wow. Of course, there's always going to be controversy, but unfortunately, what this critic did not know, and I believe at the time didn't know, that they forewent the actual cost to walk the red carpet or to have an invitation, right? Which is $30,000. She didn't have to pay for it. So you're criticizing, but you're not criticizing according to knowledge. All right. So that is AOC wearing the Miss Aurora James outfit, the only one to wear, again, a design from a black woman on the carpet. Let's get to who's next. Next on the list is none other than Jenny from the block. That's right, J-Lo in the building. J-Lo is wearing Ralph Lauren. And let me tell you about this outfit. Her Western cowgirl dress and these shoes was a look that kept with the theme. And look, just like J-Lo, she somehow managed to not make it look like a costume. So hats off to J-Lo. Next, we have Megan Rapinoe, who's wearing Sergio Hudson. A shout out to Miss Mia. Miss Mia, she actually did an outfit similar to this a few years back, and she showed the parallel, and she's glad, and I'm glad that they're bringing back this style. Remember, we just said last week about the flare leg pants. Wow, and look at these colors, right in time for this season. So let's talk about the designer that she's actually wearing. That is Mr. Sergio Hudson. I want to tell you something about Mr. Hudson here. He's dressed everyone from Michelle Obama. That's right, you remember this number? Yes, wonderful. He's also dressed none other than Beyonce. That's right, magnificent. Come on, Beyonce in the building. And this lovely number by Miss Issa Rae. She wore this at the 2020 Emmy Awards. Wonderful number there. So Sergio Hudson is paying his dues. Somebody we should watch out for. Next we have Alicia Keys. and she's wearing a custom outfit from AZ Factory. Now, if you're not familiar with AZ Factory, it's a website that hosts high-end designer fashion clothes for women. So all you have to do is put azfactory.com in your search engine, and you'll be able to shop high-end designer fashion clothes for women. That's for all of you beautiful butterflies out there. Take advantage of it. Shout out to Alicia Keys. Our next fit is by none other than NBA superstar Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, he's wearing Ralph Lauren again. Now, while Russell looks debonair in a suit, he recently made the news for this outfit. Listen. I don't know if you saw Kwame Brown's former basketball player, NBA, podcast, where he literally blasted Westbrook for wearing this. And listen, I for one want to know if this is a trend for straight men. So help me out here, guys. Now let me just say this, just as Kwame Brown stated. If you're part of the LGBTQIA community, then we are not talking about you. But we're posing this question about men who are not, and I repeat, not a part of the LGBTQIA community. Okay! That's my disclaimer. So let me ask this question, and hopefully you can help me out in the chat. Is this a trend for straight black men? And then how does this impact our young black men when they see their stars like this? Now, let me hear you in the chat. Does anyone care, or is this a cause for concern, especially when we don't have many men in the black community, that have the platforms like these celebrities? Help me out in the chat. I need to understand. I was going to do, some months ago, I was going to address this simply when it was Kid Cudi wearing a dress on SNL. And I want to know, yes, this is that episode. He was paying homage to the late Kurt Cobain, and he wore this dress. But help me out. Is this something that we should take note of? Is this something that we should take note of? Is this something that we can look to be a trend? How do we tell our young boys that their stars are now wearing dresses? Let me hear from you beautiful butterflies. How do you feel about it? My fly guys, tell me in the comments, how do you feel about this? Is it something that we need to address, or should we just shut up and dribble? So I want to hear what you think about this. Many times, you know what we do? We turn a blinded eye to things like this. And then we're upset years later when the rooster comes home to crow. That's all I'm going to say about it. Let's move on. Now we have the fabulous Miss Tracy Ellis Ross. Look at that color, it's beautiful. She's wearing Balenciaga. And I must say that Tracy always looks amazing to me. She is such a fashionista. If you agree with me, come on, give me some likes, give me some comments there. If you agree, not only when she's on television, but when she's out and about, she is such a fashionista. And listen, not to be undone, or outdone rather, here is Sierra in Dundas. And I know I've read about this particular outfit. It was basically a jersey that was made into a dress. And she highlighted it by wearing her husband, Russell Wilson. Shout out to Russell Wilson, NC State University. Shout out. Russell Wilson's football Super Bowl ring. Yes, right. She was wearing his ring as she walked the steps there at the Met. So now on to two whom just seemed they were my personal favorites. One being MJ Rodriguez. I just love this. It's simple. It doesn't look too much like a costume, but it's very nice. I love the ruffles and the balloon sleeves. If you like that look, and the corset look, absolutely, AB. Thank you. That corset look. If you like that look in the chat, put a number 1 in the chat. If that's your look, if you would rock that outfit, put a number 1 in the chat. But listen, this one is for my fly guys. That is none other than Tom Ford wearing, guess what? Tom Ford. So listen, this is a fashionable look. When I saw this look on Tom, it reminded me of a text that I received from Jonathan Campbell, friend of the show, has been on here a few times. I received this text a few days ago, and it was a screenshot from a post from someone by the name of Governor Gibbs. That's his IG name. I am sure that he is not a governor. He just plays one on IG. And this is what it said. It says, "This is me as a black man. I'm all for fashion creativity, but some of these dudes and designers are pushing the androgynous agenda too far until it's scary. For me, at Tom Ford has always been my touchstone and my blueprint for men's style, swagger, and sophistication. A classic man, yes, is a timeless man." Listen to my fly guys. I want you to see that again. A classic man is a timeless man, effortlessly chic. And then he broke down. Look at this breakdown of his look. Tom Ford had a velvet Atticus cocktail jacket, evening trousers, tuxedo shirt. Number 4, the classic satin bow tie. Number 5, a cummerbund with diamonds and black onyx stud cufflinks. And number 6, you can't forget the aviator sunglasses.
Oh, yeah!
Yes, this is a phenomenal look. And then he said, "This is the epitome of men's style and sophistication on all levels. Moral of the story is, a classic motif is a timeless motif." And then he goes on and says, "Approved and sanctioned by, again, at Governor Gibbs." He's not a real governor. But listen, shout out to Governor Gibbs as I too approve this message. All right, hold up. Excuse me for disturbing and interrupting your viewing pleasure. But listen, guys, if you haven't already subscribed on YouTube, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button down below. And listen, if you're watching on Facebook, could you please just hit like? And if you're enjoying the show, why don't you share it? Look, it literally takes 2 seconds, and it comes at no cost to you. All right, back to the show. Next, we have Keke Palmer, who I am loving how she is moving around lately in her career. She is wearing, again, this is a number by Sergio Hudson. Listen, she literally stole the show with her hosting skills during the red carpet. And she also stunned in this dress by, again, Black American designer Sergio Hudson. So he's doing a good work. Next we have Sha'Carri Richardson in Theophilio, all right? Of course, we recognize Sha'Carri Richardson. She's had a bit of drama lately, but we're all rooting for you. I don't know about you, but I'm rooting for you, Sha'Carri, that you get back on track. And as I think there was something that Usain Bolt set out to just a little while ago, said she needs to refocus her attention on running. I concur. Get back to doing that which will make you great. All right. But this is Teen Vogue's Generation Next alum, Theophilio, who dressed athlete Sha'Carri Richardson. But I want you to know he is a Jamaican-born, Brooklyn-based designer, Evan Thompson. That's his brand, Theophilio. He launched his brand in 2010, but then he officially launched the brand's first collection during New York Fashion Week in 2016. Let's look at a few items from Theophilio. Yes. And one thing I would say about this brand, and you can definitely tell the Jamaican influence on his designs. You can tell he's from Jamaica. Whoop, bloop, bloop, bloop. So listen, let's move on. Here is Gossip Girl star Jordan Alexander in what looks like an LGBTQ plus inspired flag dress. It was made by Louisiana-born and Brooklyn-based designer Christopher John Rogers. Now, I want you to know that if you've been following this show, we have discussed Christopher John Rogers on HeSpoke Fashion before. So I want you to go check that show out if you missed it. This is a SCAD alum who is taking the fashion industry by storm. SCAD, of course, is Savannah College of Art and Design. Shout out to Savannah, Georgia. Next, we have Lupita Nyong'o in Versace. Now, I must admit that this denim dress with her natural hair, it gave out this 60s and 90s vibe. And remember, just last week, we were talking about dark denim. And here she is wearing dark denim. Let's look at, AB says she loves that. I love it too. Let's look at Kwana Chasing Horse, who is really paying homage to her Navajo nation with the jewelry that she's wearing. This jewelry was from Miss Navajo Nation's Jocelyn Billy Upshaw's collection. Wait a minute. Before we move on, I have to say this. Couple alert. We have here A$AP Rocky and his boo, Rihanna. Come on. Yeah, that's the billionaire. Not millionaire, billionaire with a B. Rihanna and her boo. Oh, that's Bay, A$AP Rocky. Now listen, real talk. That quilted comforter he was wearing was what many of us were looking like in 2020 when the Rona hit. But Riri is beautiful as usual. Now, I hope you've enjoyed that collection, but I'm going to pivot here because although we can appreciate the fact that there were people of color on the red carpet, as well as on the steps of the Met, I have to address, as I stated in my post, the elephant in the room. It is my opinion that if the Costume Institute understood their own theme, Black designers would have flooded both the red carpet and this year's exhibit. But there were only a handful of Black American designers highlighted, as well as many non-American designers like Dior, Chanel, and Versace. Let's look at this quote from Bev Smith. She said, "Black people with access have become far too staid and safe. We know how to do too much, be extravagant, but then it's deemed ghetto until fashion, quote unquote, finds it." But I really like the bottom response to Bev's quote. Can you put that back up there? The last one. Yes. This response is from Ty at Ty is Living. He said, "Extremely underwhelmed. I've seen more extravagance in the Kojic church." I love it. I love it. Shout out to Ty is Living, because if you've been Kojic, you know there's a lot of extravagance, and we love it. Let's look at another quote from Bevy Smith. You want to put that up? It says, "And why no American black designers? This is how you can tell that all that hashtag BLM support was performative. If this was 2020, black designers would have flooded the hashtag MET Gala carpet. We should be everywhere because fashion is a business." Of course, there are those who have totally different opinions on how we should handle situations like these. And one such person responded to Bevy Smith's quotes here and to her comments. She says, "The style-centric Smith had, here's the user continued, I agree, but let's shine in our spaces first and not feeling like the Met has to validate black designers. We can create our own that can attract the same high regard by the fashion world." And that was his comment, but listen to Bev Smith's response to that. The style-centric Smith had the perfect response. "Baby, this is a discussion about the Super Bowl of fashion. I hosted Fashion Bomb Daily Fashion Show, interviewed Misa Hilton on Saturday, attended Harlem Fashion Row, Harlem Fashion Week, Laquan Smith, etc. We are shining in our spaces, but we deserve to shine everywhere." Come on, if you like that rebut to that comment, I want you to put some likes in the chat. Yes, we deserve to shine everywhere. Do you agree with that? I agree with that. It's not that we aren't doing our own thing. It's just that we desire and deserve to shine everywhere. Let's look at this tweet from Twitter user Shelby Ivy Christie. She said, "There will be a lot of designers that aren't American because the Met stipulated designers must work plus operate in the U.S., which is, but we also know the politics won't allow for telling LVMH no." This also means many black plus people of color designers may be overshadowed by these well-established European houses and or not have funding/resources to have presence on the carpet, tables at the gala, etc. like them, even if they are in the exhibition. Wow. So I want to pivot again here to Lewis Hamilton. And I know you're saying, why are we talking about Lewis Hamilton? All right, because we know that Lewis Hamilton is an incredible force in the racing world and beyond. Not even 2 days after a seriously scary Formula One crash in Italy, he stepped onto the Met Gala red carpet in New York on Monday to promote emerging black fashion designers. That's Lewis Hamilton right there. Come on, give me some applause. We need some claps for Lewis Hamilton. Why, you may ask? I'm going to tell you why. So let's just talk about for a moment the cost for designers for this event. I want you to leave Mr. Hamilton's photo there. So for full tables are over $275,000. And what happens is, typically major designers or fashion houses, we call them brands, will buy them and invite the celebrities they're dressing for the night, which makes it difficult for up-and-coming designers and designers of color and stars to make an impact at the event, which is referred to again as fashion's biggest night, the equivalent of the Oscars, the equivalent of the Grammys. This is what makes what this guy Hamilton, what he did, especially powerful. The 7-time world champion bought his own table and invited 4 young black designers as his guests. Did you hear what I said? The cost, that's right, drop the mic. The cost of a table is $275,000. And he bought, and over that is, and he bought a table, invited 4 young black designers as his guests. That's what Hamilton did. Listen, I told you that Keke Palmer outdid herself. She really shined as the host. And she asked him on the red carpet how this outfit tied into this year's theme, this outfit. And he said that he felt really, really fortunate that Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour agreed to host his table. He says, and this is how he ties in. He's able to promote what he had done in secret. He says, I brought 4 incredible young, black, talented designers. So we've got a great host of people tonight, and it's about just highlighting beauty and excellence and talent. And see, accompanying Hamilton was American designer Kenneth Nicholson, who created a custom suit complete with a lace calf-length shirt. In an Instagram post, Hamilton said Nicholson's craftsmanship and point of view advances menswear in truly inspiring ways. Along with Nicholson and superstar stylist Law Roach, other attendees with Hamilton were designers Theophilio and Jason Rambert, model Alton Mason, singer Kalani, and athletes Miles Shamley Watson and Sha'Carri Richardson. So this Hamilton, I'm telling you, Lewis Hamilton, we have to applaud him because listen, we're living in a time where diversity and inclusion is so important. And that's something I'm fighting for in my industry. And this is a quote from Lewis Hamilton. I would agree that that is a powerful statement, and it is truly a fight. Listen, I know personally that there are certain brands who have taken major steps in the fight for diversity and inclusion. But we must push this in every facet of the fashion industry. Now let's look at what his influence for purchasing the table was. When he was asked what influenced him to purchase the table, Hamilton said, I realized it's very similar within the fashion industry. A lot of brands, young designers don't have the same opportunities, and the Met is the biggest fashion event of the year. He said, in this theme, I wanted to create something that was meaningful, and it's something that will start and spark a conversation. And that's what we're having. We're having this conversation, not just because of what Lewis Hamilton did, not just because of what Bevy Smith said, but because it was obvious and it was blatant. So he says, when people see us all together, it will put these black designers at the top of people's minds, so they could have a platform and create their own impact on the fashion world. This is what using your own platform for good means. I applaud you, Lewis Hamilton, for not only for what you have done, but the statements that you have made. Shout out to Lewis Hamilton. Remember earlier when I mentioned Aurora James, who designed the dress for AOC? That's Miss Aurora James there. So last year, this designer founded the 15% Pledge, which is a nonprofit that asks major retailers to commit a minimum of their shelf space to goods produced, watch this, by Black-owned businesses. Did you know that? I don't think you knew that. That's why I'm sharing it to all the designers out there. It launched in response to global protests against racial injustice, falling in line with similar initiatives by corporations like Walmart and Target to bring more Black-owned brands and to their stores. Again, there are brands that are taking diversity and inclusion seriously. See, the Met Gala, it's just my belief, it could have been the perfect opportunity to highlight streetwear legends Misa Hilton and April Walker, alongside Dapper Dan and Aurora James of Brother Bellies and the 15% Project. We would have loved to see a plethora of Black women designers ready to get their picture taken by the hundreds of cameras along the carpet. Women like Carly Kushney, who founded American fashion house Kushney, whose sleek styles and silhouettes could have really served up a moment on the carpet. I'm telling you, the fashion industry would have loved to see Anita Mwimba of Hanifa create a sophisticated custom design for this year's theme, or to see Fee Noel's stunning prints, and get this, and you remember this name, Tracy Reese's take on the theme with her retro-inspired taste. The material was right there, and yet once again, sadly, it was overlooked. Let's look at this quote from Vanessa Colger. She says, "The time to truly represent and show up for Black culture in fashion was at the Met Gala, and it was a flop." Listen. I have a suggestion for next year's Met Gala. Why don't we ask Van Jones to get involved? Now, I know you're saying, why is he talking about Van Jones? Well, for those of you who are not familiar with Van, he, along with Chef Jose, both of them received the more than generous donation from multi-billionaire Jeff Bezos. And guess what? They were told, by the way, to do with it as they pleased.
Bruh.
That's right. 100 million each to do with it as they please. Now, I would think that this would warrant a cause that Van could get behind. Don't you? Let me see it in the comments. If you think this is something that Van could get behind, I want you to put a 2 in the chat. If you think this is something that he could get behind. Well, let's do this. Why don't we just let's give him a call, shall we? Let's give him a call. I think this warrants him giving us, let's call Van Jones. Let's call Van Jones. Let's see if we can get Van on the line. Let's see here. He's not picking up. I'm just kidding, guys. I do not have Van Jones' phone number. But if you do, please give him a call and ask him to partner with me to make this idea a reality. All right? Come on, I don't have his number. Don't call me and ask me, can I get in touch with Van? So you need the bar, let you hold or something. No. Yeah, I get it. In the building. No, I'm kidding. Cut. Listen. We have come to the end of our discussion. I hope by now you have liked this video, this live. I hope that you have enjoyed this show. And of course, I want to close with this thought. I, for one, am not looking to inject the race issue into every conversation. But I will call it out when I feel there is a blatant attempt to disallow the fair treatment of some over others. Again, we don't want special treatment, but equal treatment. Equal consideration went missing from this event. Listen, I know we said we were going to open up the lines, but I want to just leave with that. That's all I have for you tonight. I hope you have enjoyed this conversation. And I would implore you to join us again on next week. That's all I have for you tonight. I want you to have a good night, good fashion, and remember, HeSpoke fashion to you. Good night. Yeah, in the building.
He spoke fashion. I'm telling he spoke.